you will like this talk. If you have questions, please ask me. I always say that's my life. I grew up like this from childhood on. My family was always gem carvers. So a lot of the things is for me normal, which I even don't think about, that people may be interesting to know what's better or deeper in the topic. So ask me. There will be no stupid question. I try to answer all questions. And so let's start. So here a short look in my workshop, how I work, because a lot of people are always interested in how I work. It's a family-based workshop, so it's not very big. And how to say, I have not a lot of employees. Right now I have only 2 students, which learn under me. And everything that's done, I do by my own. You see some techniques, how I work. On the upper left, you see a starfish I just carved, and you see it in the gallery. You see this typical spindle. Then we have this water spray. That is a very simple technique to put water and pressure air together to cool the stone and clean it. Yeah, and the 2 others, you see how to polish the stones. I use small hair brushes with carborundum powder and a very fine grit to finish them, to give the carvings a beautiful shining. For sure, most important is to find good rough stones, which you can use for gem carvings. That is me when I was a little bit younger, 27 years old. I have even a mustache, not very fashioned right now. I visited with my father in 1997, Brazil. And that is really the yard of a mineral dealer. So we had the chance to spend a week in his garden and collected the agates which we really need. But you see, the agates are all completed, so you cannot see in the agates, which for the agates is the most difficult thing working with this kind of stones. That is a cut off of an agate. What we really like at the agate is the color, and the color in the different layers. So, and my father and me decided to use it. In the past, often the carvings get glued together, kind of a 3-dimensional mosaic. My father learned it from his father, my grandfather, but it goes a little bit out of fashion around 1980. And new tools coming up to the markets. We call them sinter tools. That are tiny tools which are mixed diamond and metal together, and it helps to work better and even faster. So, but my father decided not to work faster. He wanted to say better, new techniques, new ideas. So when you see these agates from the first picture, and they're completely round like a bread, you cannot see inside. You always can expect what could be inside, but you don't know. So here's a piece we cut off. As a sample, you see these very nice layers. And that is what we did out of them. You see, we used this brownish layer as the faces of the gem, and the gray black part as the body of the gem. Difficult as this is, you see this black layer, this brownish layer is not very thick. If you see, compared with my fingers. So, and this, you need to make the design after the layers from the agate. That was a really, easy sample because the layer was really straight running through the stone. But if you have agates like this, where you have this nice colors, but they are not straight, so you always have kind of waves, or how we call it. And that comes out at the end. No? Going back, this is not 100% the same stone as the chimps, which was finished. So it was a triangle, the end of the agate, and the brownish colors runs like a V, and stopped in the corner, and then was only the black color. And that is the reason why my father could not do the third chimp with a brown face. No, that's what he decided to turn him around, and he keep his eyes closed and said, "Oh, I feel so sad because I don't have this brownish faces." Playing with agates is always fun, but always very difficult, because you don't know, again, how the layers run in the stone, because you cannot look through. Even X-ray, things like this, don't help you to find out how the colors run in the stone. Here you see a very nice example. In theoretical, very simple animal, a starfish, comparable to chimp, it's easy. But the starfish really live from that all 5 arms are symmetric and have all the same colors. So in that you really need to follow the colors to get this out of the stone. Corner left up is again how I work with magnifying glasses, working the details. We have here also a dust remover, again the spray and the spindle, and the backyard you see all the different tools I use. And you see the small box? Earplugs from Bose, because I like to hear music during working. Because the machine is a little bit loud, so for relaxing, music is always helping a lot. Well, very nice example. So on the left side you see the idea. No, you want to have a mouse on a mushroom. So you sketch it on the stone and think it comes out. But then the brown layer runs so unexpected in the stone that you need immediately to change the design of the mouse and follow the color. And that is the reason why you see on the right side, it's completely a different mouse. So I always say when you work with agates, you have an idea, you have a sketch, you talk to the clients or the collectors, but you always say the first sketch will never survive till the end. It's very rare that it really happens that your first idea and your first position, what you want to do, really comes out at the end. But this makes it interesting, because it's more difficult to work, but always a proof that you have really unique piece. You cannot do it again. Laying with the colors, looks at the colors run through the stone. You can support the animal with the layer of the agates. That is a hamster. Here at the corner up right you have the idea. Left is the rough stone. Oops, sorry. Oops. So here's roughly preformed, and then the finished guy. And you see, I put the hamster out of this piece of the agate and use the stripes which running a little bit roundish up to give this guy later a very nice expression from the agates. Same as here, it's maybe even easier and better to see. This tiny little guy is also in my gallery if you want to see him real. Using the brownish part as a back part and the the light brown in front part. And really he runs symmetric through the animal. So, and if you don't know how the layers run, and you expect it's like this, and the layer changed, you need to move the design of the hamster to that looks symmetric. For example, when this not be symmetric, he would not have this expression at the end. This is also a very nice example. Try to do it again. First of all, find the same stone with these layers, and then get them out. For sure, it's a lot of experience to work with agate to get this out, but I always say it's also a portion of luck, that it works how the carver expected. Sometimes you have in agate tiny layers with black points or anything. It would be a shame to carve them away. And when you come to this layer, you immediately think, wow, that's worth to cover, that's worth to keep alive. And then you need to find any textures, how these points stay in the design. But at the end, you see it's really a kind of up-leveling of the carvings. I could carve it away, but keep it is a better solution. Agates have often also quartz inside, calcite inside, or things like this. So to use the agate together with quartz is always a challenge. Here you see a very nice example of a rough stone. And the toad I made, which is coming out of the stone. And she sits in this part. Very unusual for this agate from Brazil is this really pink color. So we try to include it in the animal. The quartz is normally much softer than the agate. So that you can only use it as a base. You cannot use in a carving with fine details. So that is the reason why we use this white layer between the agate and the quartz as a base here, and then the quartz underneath. That keeps the quartz stable enough. They are just also in the gallery. When you buy agates, you buy a kind of bread or almond. You don't see in, so often you need to cut them. And here I cut the stone direct through the middle because it was a big piece, and then see immediately this nice yellow calcite inside and this nice geode. Again, I think it's worth to cover it, to save it. So then I was thinking what's possible to do around. The agate over the quartz was not so high, so a mouse would be fit perfectly. But the agate was a little bit big for only one mouse, so I decided to make two mice, and I called them the encounter. So two mice which are met for a talk or whatever. I'm very lucky. They win this year the first prize at the AGTA and the part of the carving, gem carvings. have a collector, he wants to have a running cheetah. And when you want to make a cheetah really running and looking powerful, he runs on one leg. But the leg is so thin, it will not cover or keep the animal on top. It would break. What you can do, we use it at this time, the quartz, as plants which cover the tail of the cheetah to give him more strongness. It's the same stone as you see for the toad. It was really the size of an agate. And here we have also a collector. He had from the same stone a flying bat out of the stone. That was for my father really a very big challenge when Herb said how we can make a flying bat. So my father used the crystal as the ear, and the bat he carved out in front of the quartz. It looks amazing. Same as here, also the foal is very delicate, very fine carving, and the legs are very thin, so they also could not stay alive during working. So we also try to cover them with same material, some bushes. As I told you, cannot look inside an agate. Here is a preformed toad. So then happens in agates that holes coming up. Especially here, it was really in the stomach, and we find no solution to get the design of the toad around this hole, and the hole goes really deep in the stone. Let's say they fail, put it by side, start a new object. So often it happens that you cut 7 till 10 agates to find the right agate to work with. A very old technique, a long technique before people even colored the agates, was to heating up the agates. My father taught me this technique because he wants that it got not lost. But he has this old knowledge how to do it, so often they do it in the oven and make it like this with the temperature, maybe a little bit more middle. The problem is that the agate have a lot of water inside, and first the water need to go out completely. So it's a long process to dye the agate, and then you're heating it slowly up till around 320 degrees. And then the agate change the colors, but not all agate change colors. So for example, light brown agates get the salmon colors, gray agate often get to white. Black, for example, don't change, and deep brown also don't change. But with the heating up agates, you can really play with the color who coming out. You see it very nice on the peacock, not peacock, sorry, on the rooster, or on the goldfish. But also this goldfish, that was, let's say, our masterpiece in heating. It was the biggest piece we ever did, and we keep it in a private collection. And new clients coming up and want to hang this goldfish, and my father said, no, we keep it. And some of the clients was more, how to say, they tell my father, okay, I don't want this one, but a similar one. And so we decided to do new goldfishes. He let me prefer the goldfish because you cannot heat up a really block of agate. The thickness of the agate must be around 4 centimeter thickness. That is really the border which the water can still disappear out of the agate. If it's thicker, the water stays in the center, and it happens. If you heat up the water, it's like dynamite, it will crack the stones. So I prefer one, and my father said, oh, let's make two, in the case one broken during the heating process. Oh, sadly, both get broken after 3 weeks when there was an oven and 1 week of heating up and cooling down. It was very exciting to open the oven, but sadly, both goldfishes was broken. You see, for example, here's this crack. Here's a crack. Here it's completely cracked through. That means that in the body was still water in the center. And the water, when it gets hot, tries to disappear. And then it cracks the stone. Sadly, this was the last try to heat agate for my family. After this, my father was sad about heating agates because the risk was too high. I invest in each of these carvings 120 working hours till to this date, so I killed 240 working hours in once. The problem is we don't find out why it happened, because we have a better oven. This was really, you can have program him, the oven, that he goes 1 degrees per minute up and down. So we use the same program as for the first surviving goldfish. But still, anything happens, stones are different, they both broke. And after this, my father stopped heating agates. So that was a section about the agates. Do anybody have question about agates, working with agates, before we go to other materials? Nobody? Okay.
Have you tried heating again since?
Not yet, but I will.
You said 320 degrees. Is that Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Celsius. German Celsius.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. But it's a really long process about heating up slowly. Other stones like sapphire or even quartz are much more easier to heat up because they don't have this water inside.
Patrick, we have a question from somebody online. Derek wants to know, is there some less expensive material that...
Can anybody understand, Brian? Brian, nobody understands you.
Sorry, I'll try one more time. Derek online wants to know if there's less expensive material that a beginning carver can use.
Less expensive material that a beginning carver can use.
Okay, good. Very good solution. So agate is still a cheap material comparable to aquamarine or here the mousicite or something. I started my apprenticeship and my main stone for training was obsidian. Obsidian, natural glass, very beautiful in the color, easy to work with, and if anything broke, not so much damage in your wallet. Right. Is that the answer of your question?
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Good. You had a question? No, because it's very tiny channels in the agates. Only drilling one hole is not enough. That's also how they dye and color, for example, for cameo stones. They are thin layers. They need to get all the water out of the channels, and then they put color in. And then they heat it up, and that is how the cameo stones looks like.
You said the increasing of the temperature has to go very slow.
Yeah.
Also the decrease.
Yeah, you cannot open the oven when you are finished and think, cool. This immediately change from warm to cold will also break the stones. So it's the same time you need to go up, need to go down. No, but the sand is a very good point. In the past, when people don't have this oven, I find in old records that they put a pot on the cooking place in the kitchen, put the agate inside and cover it with sand. But it was always luck. What was the temperature? It was open fire, never know. But the sand is good because it keeps the temperature and goes slow cooling down. Now this oven is a sterilization oven I found for hospitals, which is really, really good because you can program go up to 1,500 degrees if you want. And so you can really reduce the temperature very slowly again. So we don't need the sand anymore, but in the past they use it. Okay, let's go to the next material. This kind is a mausolit. It comes from Myanmar, Burma. Right now, a really expensive material. I think over 20 years and nothing comes out of Burma. I get this huge mausolit and I was really overwhelmed. I don't know how much value I had here in hand. It could be today a lot of money. So the guy want to have a gecko out of the material. I make sketches, you will see later the sketches. When you see the stone here, it looks a really healthy stone. You see no cracks, nothing. I really expect that the stone was a perfect stone. The first thing what I do when I get this big rocks, you need to cut them with a diamond saw in smaller pieces that you can work with. So I cut it. Boom. No? Completely big cracks through this material. And there's only one side that had cracks completely around the stone. So and then you need to find a design how you can get rid of the cracks, save as much as possible of the healthy material. Which you see here on the left side is the design I make after the cracks disappeared. And the right side you see the finished piece. It's a gecko climbing up a branch. And underneath is a base of a smoky quartz. Because I need this base that this animal don't fall over. Mausolit, very difficult to work because it's a multi-gemstone stone, multi-mineral stone, so how it's called. I heard about that 13 different minerals are in the stone, and most of them have different hardnesses. So some pieces are, for example, the black spots are very soft, the green is very hard, and that's also a challenge to work with. We have no different diamond drills for soft and hard parts, so we use the same. And when you carve on the hard parts, it's very good, and then you come to soft parts, make even difficult. But I think at the end the result is okay. So hardness after the Mohs scale is not so important for us, especially for as hard as the stone is. What is very good is the toughness of a stone. Like here, this nephrite is a really tough stone. You cannot break him. It's really so tough you cannot break him. Not like an agate. Agate is, let's say, medium tough, but nephrite is really, in general, a perfect material. Good is, if the stone is very tough, you can work very thin because the stone will alive. That's the reason why we make here the sleeves. And they're really, I think, 2 millimeters thick. and then put the frog on the top. But also here you see very nice on the left side, if you cut the nephrite, you have always different colors in the nephrite, cracks inside, which you need to work around. Ruby hardness 9. Often people say how you can work with a hardness 9, and it works. We work with diamond tools, they have hardness 10, so it's easy. But also here you have a very nice example, it's ruby exquisite. And it looks very nice if you use both material together. So the ruby is very hard and the exquisite is very soft. Yeah. Often you have these rubies in the crystal systems, which you can expect that the crystal runs like this in the same form through the stone. But when you now look at the toads, you see that the crystal not often have such straight lines. Here you see it very nice. And so you need really to follow the border between exquisite and ruby, and this gives you this design, how the legs coming up from the toad. So often when customers come and say, I want this and this toad in this and this position, I say, good luck. Especially with this untranslucent material, you need to have a lot of reserve. So that's not that you start carving and come immediately to the finished end of the position. You always need to have a little bit reserve, that the leg is much bigger, because you need the opportunity to change anything during working. So often you work 3 or 4 times the whole carving around to get it to the real dimension, real position. Often if you start and then maybe a crack coming up, then you must be flexible to move the leg from front to back, or put it more to the body or put it away from the body. And so you really need to be flexible. And that is the biggest challenge. Plus, you need to stay at this border, because if you move the leg and it comes in the green, you immediately destroy the design. If the toad, a ruby toad, have a green leg, it would be, looks not so nice. A second life sounds always interesting. It's really like this. The last years, or many years, I get often support from mineral dealers, mineral collectors, which minerals are damaged, or they could not sell them as a specimen, collected pieces. So they give it to me, and I can use them. They're perfect material for me. So many years ago, I was in California, and one of the famous mineral dealers, and we was talking about mineral collection and specimens and things like this, and he told me that he bought completely collections, and that often minerals are damaged. And I said, what do you do with the mineral damaged? Oh, I throw them away, I cannot use them. I said, what? Perfect material for me. So now I get really supported of expensive material, like the heliodor, for example, here, which this mineral dealer cannot use, but for me is a perfect material. They have the access to this material because they travel around the world. I stay mostly in Ida Oberstein, so I'm happy for the support. What you also see very nice, if we have really jewelry pieces, we add on a lot of gold parts. Here's the pigs and the fields. Heliodor is one of my stones I like most. It's really nice material. When I was apprenticing in 1990, there comes a guy from Ukraine. He rings at the door, talk to me, I have stones you want to sell. He even don't speak very good English. And I have to look. And so he bring me to his car, open his trunk, And really the bottom of the trunk was full of the perfect Heliodor crystals. At that time he asked 2 German marks, which is $1 per gram. Today we are going 120 till 200 per gram. Here you see very nice why I really love the Heliodors is the etching which the stone have, especially the pieces from Ukraine. The skin of the crystals, they look amazing. This, for example, was a stone. It was one of our mineral people here in the gallery. He had a mining project at the Wolodarsk mine. And one of the miners found the Heliodor and tried to get him out and hit the stone, and the stone break. They tried to glue it, but it get not sold because it's not really nice restorations. And years later he said, take it, take it, take it. I don't want to see it again. Do anything what you like. So I make the stroke out of it, so I cut away this broken part and use the rest and save as much as possible from the mineral with a nice animal. For sure the guy was really pleased with the result. It's already sold. So all was happy. Second life, as I say. One of the most complicated stones to work with, the topaz. The topaz has this perfect cleavage. I have here a guest, she sat in the last row, and how I met her was that we have a discussion in Facebook that she says you cannot carve topaz. And I said, yes, you can carve topaz. And that was how we met, no, Naomi? In general, you can carve any material, but you need to know how to do it. You need to have the experience. Also, especially with the topaz, you need to take the risk. During working, anything can happen. Perfect with topaz is perfect cleavage. You make any mistakes and the stone split completely through and it's gone. So my father never touched the topaz because he don't want to take the risk that anything happens. I'm younger, I'm more stupid as him. I like challenges. I don't work not... Oh, sorry. I like challenges. I don't want to work not only with agates, not only with quartz. So I get the stones. You see, it's not a perfect mineral piece, not a specimen, and I get it for gem carving. And on the right side, you see the result. So I use a brown part as one of the seahorses, and the blue part of the other seahorses. I add again some gold fins to make it more jammy. Yeah. Some of the mineral collectors in the past get really angry about me because they think I touch perfect minerals. No, my respect for Mother Nature is so high, I really work with damaged material and keeps them again a second life, brings them to life again. Often I work with material like this, quartz. For example, this piece is a very nice piece I get from the Alps in Switzerland. And the guy could not sell it as a St. Marie show because of the top, it was damaged. Nobody of the mineral collector wants to have it. For me, we were sitting in a hotel, in a restaurant, and he showed it to me and said, if I want it, immediately yes. Because I can carve around this damage, I carve the damage away and can make a design around. So this is a stone, It's going up around 35 degrees and had underneath some smaller crystals. An idea I have right now is to keep this crystal alive, to use maybe only the upper side of the crystal, because he is damaged too, what you see, only the upper part of the crystal. So the upper half of the crystal, I want to carve an animal, maybe from the Alps, like a lizard or anything, and keep the crystal form alive. I had it in mind to do it for this Tucson show, but time is running so fast. I do it for next Tucson show. Here you see some typical animals from rock crystal, smoky quartz, sorry. The smoky quartz or the quartz themselves have often different zonings of colors, so you find lighter colors, darker colors, special in smoky quartz. That was the idea, to make the mouse on the left side a little bit in the darker part, and then the mushroom in the lighter part. The right, I think I talked the story many times, the early carving for my father often was not polished. And when I was young, I want to polish hippo, because this was a perfect in stone, perfect in color. And if you polish the stone, the colors comes much better out. He told me that I cannot do it. You will fail. People will see that you fail. It will be too expensive, all the things. It was really a fight about 1 week. I want to do it, no. I want to do it, no. At the end, my father said, okay, do it in your free time with your money. And I promise you it get not sold. It sold after 14 days. After this, most of the animal carvings are high polished, because again, I have the philosophy, the quality of the stone gets much more nicer shown. The color comes better out, and it stays forever, the polishing. Nothing can hurt the stone. If you don't drop into the bottom and the stone split, it stays like this. Very nice example. I have a collection which come to the market again. The collector collected between 1980, 1990, even longer, but this part of the collection I have here. First of all, you see one of the hippo, which is half polished. So the old style hippos. I have also this here polished citrine hippo, so you can compare them, which looks nicer. And you also can see these carvings are 40 years old, even over 40 years old. And if you don't know it, you think they are new. That was really nice from the polishing and how people take care about the carvings, so nothing happened to the carvings. Often we have collection now, they change generations, which is very nice and proud for me. Tourmaline.
You ever have people ask you to polish older carvings?
Yes, but I do it only for us, our carvings. But when I give special for talks and GIA, for example, in Carlsbad in California, and polishing is, how to say, a difficult part. You have to have a lot of knowledge how to do it, and often the people want to ask, how you polish, how you polish. I always say, that's family secret. No, in general, there is not the perfect way to polish an animal. Each stone is different. You need to have different tools. You need to try what works the best. That's the only solution I can give all the new people. You need to try it. What works best? What's the best result? Each stone is different. Even an agate and a second agate, they are different. Sounds stupid, but they are. Some polish perfect, the other you polish and nothing works. So it's really a try out what works best. So this tourmaline, it's I think a famous story. I get it from a mineral dealer in California. he could not sell it because you see the crystal is broken. Here's a part that's already missing. He bought it in Brazil, I think for cheap money. Yeah, it looks not really nice, also even as a carving material, because at the top there was around 1 centimeter of really black tourmaline, and at the bottom was really a line of black which eats the color, so the color go not through. So even if you use a tough torch, you see at the top it's black. You see the pink, you see green, and you see black. So one of the first steps I do always is to clean the stones. So black tourmaline nobody wants, get rid of it. Can you expect that here's blue under it? No. What? This part is completely nice blue. Even I don't see it, even my father don't see it. No. So the black eats the color. The black don't let the light through and you don't see it. That is playing with the light. And then when the blue comes out, you immediately make the design around this color, to include this color. That was really the idea to make this toad. Her nickname is Queen of Toads because she's 6,000 carats, really big one. With 7 different colors, proved from the GIA. Nothing treated, nothing glued, completely natural, only the eyes are included. She stays in the campus of GIA. People try to buy it, people try to offer millions, no kidding. But the owner said, no, money I have enough, this toad I only get once in my lifetime. Any idea what this material is? What?
Carbide?
Nope.
Cuprate. Coal?
You know it already, huh? Cuprate. In general, a material I don't want to work with because it's not so healthy material, but it's copper poisoning. No? But I get it from Ian Bruce. I do it, make anything out of it. Okay, he's my landlord. He's the owner of this gallery. He's a friend of me. Okay, I do it. No? So first I clean it again, put away the malachite, get out this piece. Like this, it's under cold light. When you turn it on warm light, let's see, have it? No. It's completely different color, it goes really red. So when I clean it, we are too far. When I clean it, I immediately call Ian and said, make a cut stone out of it. It's cut stone quality. You get much more money as for a carving. He said, no, I want to have a carving. So good. So the idea was, because the red looks really like the jewelry grouper, and I love scuba diving. So this grouper was one of my models I use. On the right side you see a sketch, and you see that I try to save as much as possible from this cuprite, because it's a very rare material in this size. A lot of experts even told me that it's never see a size like this. I give often lectures for German gemology students, and often the teachers and professors join to my workshop, and I was really, wow, that's cuprite so big. Yeah. You see here the idea, the jewelry grouper. Behind you see that I use a rock crystal for coral. Rock crystal, I use that from this reason because the white supports the color of the gemstones. The whites stay in the background, the translucent whites let light through the stone from the back and even highlighted the objects more. Corals are protected for many, many years now. and I like to see them when I go scuba diving. So what was the result? Okay, we decided some years ago to carve corals. Even there you see a very nice sample which we did in my room, if you are interested. So, working with cuprite, again, not very healthy. You have a special mask, magnifying glasses, gloves, dust remover and everything, and you see the dust from the stone is really like blood red. It looks really you see it very nice. And that's the result. On the left side, the grouper is under a white light, and on the right side, he's on a warm yellow light. And the color immediately changed. I made it last year for the Tucson show, and Ian was very pleased with the result. He promised me to keep it, but I think he got a very good offer, so it's sold some days ago. But it comes in very good hands, and the guy was very, very proud to have it. It will be one in a kind. Definitely, I don't want to work again with cuprite. Because all the money you can get, what helps you when you get ill and die? Huh? By the way, very nice photos from Tom Spann. No, a really great photographer. He's also in our gallery. Some advertising, sorry. So, question to the expert: what stone could this be? From the color, how the skin looks like.
Obsidian?
No. More expensive stone. Much more expensive stone. Huh?
Tourmaline?
No, it's aquamarine. So the guy who bought it is an expert in stone. He's many years in business. He bought it from an African dealer in Ida Oberstein. I was with him. He sold it as an aquamarine, and the guy was even, he wanted to have it because so intensive, cool blue color. He paid a lot of money for this piece, and we all believe it's aquamarine. Then I start carving at it, preforming, and it feels not like aquamarine. Aquamarine is very hard, but it was very soft stone. And then really, it happened an accident to me. He split. And I was shocked. Oh shit, I damaged the stone from the owner. Here you see very nice. Exactly. So it is a perfect cleavage, and no, aquamarine don't have this perfect cleavage. It's a topaz. So we give the stone, I call the owner for sure and tell him, no, it's not aquamarine, it's topaz. He did not believe me, because he paid for an aquamarine. So we give it to our lab, Gemology Institute. They make a research about it and prove it's completely topaz. Still a nice stone, but much more or less worse than aquamarine size. So that is my title. You never can judge a book by his cover. You buy an aquamarine because you think it's aquamarine. It looks like aquamarine. You don't see any cleavage at the outside. And then things like happened like this. So that will be the next project I did. I found 3 very nice tourmalines, which coming from a collection and get sold at the Munich show this year, or last year. And one was really green, and the guy said, I expected they are blue inside, but you could not see it. And I always nervous and want to preform it and look what's inside. And this time we had really luck, it's completely blue inside. So that will be a project for this year, and I hope you can see it next year here in the show. We are with my talk already finished. Do you have questions before I go on?
When you're working with a new material, do you experiment with smaller keys?
Yes. Yes. You need to know what diamond tools you can use. You need to know what grit you can use. For example, the cuprite is very soft, hardness 4. When I would use my normal tools, which is built for hardness, let's say it's 6, 7, 8, they would eat the stone. So you need to make tests what tools work best for the stone. And so in this cuprite case, you need to have very fine tools, work very slow, that not too much disappear from the soft stone. So soft stone is much more complicated to work with as a hard stone.
Are most of your pieces commissioned or almost all commissioned?
Yeah, before I had this gallery room, it was almost commissioned pieces. For 4 years ago, I got an invitation to be part of this gallery, and it was really a very hard decision for me because from the financial aspect, my father passed away, so everything was in change. I take the risk, take over this gallery room, and then I had a problem. I have no carvings. So, because all was commission works. So we decide now from the Tucson show till of October, we will work in commissions. From October till January to the Tucson show, we I produce carvings which are self-directed in the gallery. Because I make a lot of experience. People who know me, who trust me, they make the orders. But a lot of new clients coming in, stepping in the gallery, and they cannot expect to get a new animal and have not the view how the animal comes and looks like. So they prefer to buy a finished object. And here in the gallery comes also very healthy people, and what they don't have is patience. They see it, they want it, and they buy it. If I say, yeah, maybe you have to wait 2 years, it's no go. Good question. With the toads, we have, let's see if I have an example. Here's a very nice example. You see it on the size, very nice. It's also an agate, a black layer agate with a gray layer. Then you carve the eye, and then you hollow the gray part till you come to the black, and then you fill it up with gold foil. This gives this effect of the reptile eyes or fish eyes. Still, it is gemstone. Some of the animal carvings have glass eyes or things like this. We stay with the animal, with the gemstone eyes. Anybody else? Nope. Oops. Wait. No, stop. We are not finished. Over the last years, I get often asked where the people can get the tools. In America, over the last years, the interest in gem carving gets bigger and bigger. The American people have a really strong community as a hobby cutter and hobby carvers. but they carve with pieces they can buy on Amazon and things like this. We have a very nice example. Dave is here. He's one of the guys who contacted me where I can get better machines, where I can get better tools. So a friend of me, he is Bert, come on. So Bert is one of our, let's say, the most important diamond tool producer in Ida Oberstein. The company gets founded in 1885. So as me, a long tradition family workshop. And he is my main supporter for any diamond tools. What makes it very comfortable, I don't need to buy finished tools in Amazon, which maybe get produced in China. I call Bert and say, look, I have this and this problem, this is the stone, I need this and this tool. And he produced me the tool after my wishes. For sure, they're a little bit expensive than the Chinese tools, but I promise they work much better and keeps a long time. So when I start apprenticeship time, my father bought me a starter set, different tools, and after 38 years I still have these tools. They get different forms at the end, but they still be alive. So, and if you have interesting, he's around here, you can talk to him, flyers are around, maybe he want to talk anything.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick, for this chance to talk to your crowd. So, and thank you very much for this nice presentation. So, yeah, if you have any question about any diamond tool, please do not hesitate to visit our booth. Yes, what I want to say is that we also are a very old company in fourth generation. So my grandfather also was in the business. So we made some experience with all these guys like Patrick, all these champions in our region. And what we offer at our booth is all made in Ida Oberstein. So and the other thing I wanted to say, what Patrick said. If you have any problem, if you have any task, we are able to make tailored solutions for you. So that is what we can offer, and the rest we can talk at the booth, I would say. The bad news is our tools are not changing the color if you put the light to yellow. Only if you put the light off or on. Yeah.
What I want to mention too, Bert is really humble. The company produces also diamond saws, lapidary equipment, everything. So they're really expert in all kinds of diamond tools for all kinds of need for the diamond industry. For me, it's very important that I have the support of these people. We work close together, and we decided now to make kind of starter sets, a spindle, which I work with some tools that people in America or worldwide can try, can order the stuff, and can make experience. But often people ask me also where I can learn gem carving. Or if I buy the starter set, how I know to use it.
Patrick, before you go on, can you answer the question if you can get spindles from Persh?
I understand you so bad. Yeah, you can buy spindles direct from Bert. He produces also the spindles, the tools. As I told, he produces a completely variety of diamond tools and everything what you need. Coming back, sorry that Brian disturbed me. When you have the spindle and have the starter set, and you want to learn maybe how to handle this, I get often asked for people to teach them gem carving. I did it in the past with students, with people from America, but it gets so much I cannot do it all by my own. My workshop, as you saw in the first photo, is very tiny. And I have a very good friend, Heidi. Please come. Heidi is also a master gem carver from our area.
Hello.
She's also a jewelry designer. And together with her, we offer now courses which you can do in Germany right now. Future is plans that Heidi or me also travel to America to maybe give courses there. But right now the problem is equipment in America. To carry everything to America for courses is a little bit difficult. With Bert, we're working on this problem right now. We find a solution, gell, Bert? Well. You have to understand, for Heidi, she also a very family tradition workshop in Ida Oberstein. For me, that's our life. And that's a beautiful kind of art, and we all don't want that they get lost. You see a lot of gem carvings, especially from China, from Peru, from Brazil. Tons on the shows, but the quality is not really art. So we little master carvers need to teach now the next generations, the people who are interested, that the art don't get lost. So and Heidi is the right person to speak with her if you have any interesting to learn gem carvings. She is very flexible. She accepted 2 people at once. That's not because she don't accept it more. That is more that she can focus on these 2 people, 1 or 2 people. It's really intensive courses. She asks what's the skill you have, and then help you to raise up. Even if the skill is 0, you learn the starting. If you are even a master carver, today we had a master carver from Canada, which carved for more than 40 years. But he had not this apprentice master level system in Germany, what we learned about it. So he booked courses at Heidi's to raise up his level as a master carver. Heidi, want you to say anything?
Oh, yeah. You have told so much about this, so what can I say? Yes, master carving stones, gemstones is also my life. As Patrick Dreher, good friend since years. And when he was coming, I think it's 3 or 4 years ago, when he asked me, can you imagine that you give lessons to people to give carving courses? And I said at the first moment, oh, I think not. I'm also busy like you, but I will think about it. So yes, but I think also like he said, it's a dying job in our town. So nobody else is doing this. We have no younger children to learn this, and I think in about 10-20 years we have nobody to do this. So I was saying, okay, why not? I tried, and now I'm here. You're welcome in my home, and maybe you can come to my workshop, and I will show you a lot of secrets to carve these animals or whatever you would like to learn.
Beside Heidi's teaching, when you come to Ida Oberstein, she make also very nice round program. So you will see the mine, you will see the water loop where they cut the agates with the craft of the water. You can see the museums. You can visit Bert's company, how the diamonds will get produced. So we try to build up a real package that people have the teaching from Heidi, but also learn about the history in Ida Oberstein. We can also arrange to visit maybe other artists. So it's a beginning. and we want to grow up. But the main point is really that we don't want that this art get lost or the quality is so bad that nobody collected it. And Heidi is right. We are, let's say, it's the last generation. After us, there comes not a long new people. But it is not that people don't want to learn it. The problem is Germany, the Oberstein was a very close community. And our fathers, no, we don't want to share any knowledge to anybody, expected the kids. No? My father never would expect, for example, a cover from America or anywhere else from the world, because everything was family secret, everything was keep in the family. Now I'm the last generation, like Heidi. We don't have problems now to share. The world changes, everything's now more open, and we try to go this way. Next step, future step, which I have in mind, which we talk about, is maybe also teach you over internet. But that maybe needs 2 more years to stabilize, not stabilize, to arrange everything. So, do you have any questions for one of those guys?
This may be a silly question. Do you ever carve or have you tried to carve fluorite?
Not yet. But because it's too soft and also the cleavage, so. But I want to try it.
Beautiful colors, though.
Yes, I love to collect. I'm a really fan of fluorite.
Have you carved quinzites?
Nope. The cleavage art. But not now.
Yeah.
Maybe it happens. Here are booklets, kinds of flyers, if you want to learn more about Heidi and Bert. They will be also in the gallery now and answer all your questions. So that's from my side, I think, everything.